Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
Welcome to the Impactful Engineer, where we try to help you advance your career. We try to spread awareness and access to the engineering fields and give you a leg up as you move through your career. Steve, go ahead and tell us the episode types.
Sure. Yeah. So first off, our most common episode type is Jake and I presenting a topic where we introduce the why and how around that topic and give some tips to inspire some action. Occasionally, we also have some solo episodes where Jake or I will have an idea top of mind that we want to get off our chest. And these are typically just a quick actionable item that will help you progress in your career. And finally, about once a month, we will have a long format episode where we bring on an expert in a particular field to share their perspective, mindset, and give some actionable tips around their area of genius.
Right on. And today is the guest episode type. If you haven't guessed already, we bring in someone that has a very good expertise and background in what we're going to share with you today. And as you know, we don't do long, drawn-out intros with a whole backstory, so I'm just going to introduce our guest. It's Salvatore Manzi. Welcome to the show.
Great to be with you guys. Thank you.
So I know we said tell us as much as you want to tell us about who you are and what you've done, but give us a good background and where you're at today and what you do for people.
Yeah, I'll just start with that. I'm a communications coach, and I help primarily engineers, scientists, analysts, data-driven folk create or use communication strategies to create clear and compelling messages. I grew up in the communication world. My father was a public speaker, did the conference circuit. I got inspired, jumped up on the stage and realized, not for me, I'm an introvert. But moreover, I noticed that all of the public speaking training wasn't geared to introverts. It's geared towards extroverts and how to shape your charisma, how to polish your charm. And so as an introvert, I had to look at research in psychology, neuroscience, and come up with frameworks that help me structure my content in any given context. Delivery techniques that help me utilize my body in a way that appears normal to non-introverted people, and presence. Like, what is it that's driving my ability to show up with a sense of presence, to have that it factor in a room, to grab the spotlight? So for the last 20 years, I have been working primarily with engineering STEM professionals and taking their work from great concept into actionable items in the boardrooms or in meetings across the gamut.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really awesome because engineers, as we all know, tend to be more on the introverted side.
Yeah. And as you were speaking, I'm kind of moving through my life. I'm like, yeah, introverted, engineer, analytical, doesn't really talk a whole lot. Emotions, anything like that, presentation, presence, let's just get the thing done. And then I saw when I get out of college, right? And I start entering the workforce and making that switch, because I kind of saw the same thing. It's like, I need to be able to communicate. People do not know what's happening. And so when I made that switch and did the work, it was a lot of work because I am naturally introverted to make that switch. And then I saw my career start taking off. So if you haven't heard before, communication is very important, especially for us engineers. So that's what you're going to get out of this episode. We have the expert here. So if you think it could improve your career, listen up. So communication, la la land. What are we doing? Let's not glaze the engineer over. Let's start with something, I think maybe a groundwork type of question or route. How do we get started? What does it really mean and why it's important?
To your point, anybody's going to notice that all of their brilliance is not being recognized. They're not being acknowledged. A great idea goes behind. Somebody doesn't take your idea at the meeting. Delays happen. miscommunication with your advisor because of a timeline or because of a deliverable, whatever it is, being able to communicate in their language is critical. And I like to think of it this way. If I'm an engineer, I'm thinking from right to left. If I'm the salesperson, I'm thinking from back to front. And I have to find a way to bridge that gap. And the first way I always offer is that metaphors move minds. Find a way to start speaking in metaphors. And the quick hack for this is pick a hobby. What's your hobby? What's your passion? For me, it's chocolate and redwoods. I know they don't sound like they go together, but I can talk about chocolate and I can talk about redwoods till the end of the day. And so anytime I'm faced with explaining something complex, I can revert to my two areas of domain of expertise, and I can easily make a metaphor for it. Another game, and we can play this right now. Grab something, grab anything that's handy, and tell me, okay, you got something there, Steve or Jake. Tell me, how is your career like that thing? Take a minute and just think about, describe to me how your career as an engineer is like that thing. Go for it.
This is nerve-wracking, man. I haven't felt the little flutter in quite some time, and I love being put on the spot. Let's see what I can do. So how is this? So I picked up my Yeti coffee mug. It's got a sticker on the back of it, and it's got some etching on it, Beacon Marine Construction. All right. How is this Yeti coffee mug like my career? That was the prompt, correct? So steady, sturdy. I like the way it looks. It's got some shiny bits to it. It's also got some kind of matte flat to it. So I would say, there have been shining moments in my career that I can be proud of. Okay.
Love it.
There are some boring, I guess if you could take the matte flat kind of color here, but I could say there's some boring stuff that I've had to work through and do a lot of because it's part of building up to the shining moments. I like the construction of it. It's very utility driven. It keeps the thing that I want cold or hot for a long time. I guess I would call that consistency maybe in my career. How all this ties together, I have no idea, but that sure was fun talking about a coffee mug in my career.
You're making music to my ear. First iteration is always going to be the chunkiest, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're finding our way. We're wading into it there. And your first iteration of now, if you were to do a second pass, it would be absolute art, right? The challenge is for any of us to learn to speak in metaphors more efficiently. We need to do it on a regular basis. So just one time a day, grab something and explain something that you're working on at work using that item, whatever it is. It will develop the muscle memory for you to start speaking in metaphors and bridging that gap with non-data driven people.
Yeah.
I could go ahead, Steve.
Oh, no, you first, because mine's a follow-up.
I don't know. I could just see how that would help a lot because when I listen to people that I get the most impact from, they're always using metaphors, and I always have that. I'll listen to it the third time, and I'll get something out of it because I finally listened to the metaphor and made the connection. I said, "Oh, that's what he's really trying to say there, or she's really trying to say," and that metaphor clicks it all together, or whatever rhetoric they're using just makes it click for me.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
And I would offer, and Steve, I know you had a follow on, but I would offer, if you can keep with the same metaphor, for me, redwoods and chocolate, it becomes my brand. My audience begins to just anticipate or track. If I'm with the same group for months, they're going to be tracking my metaphor, and they know it all of a sudden starts to click before I even go into a full metaphor about it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what I was going to say is if you are not particularly good at using metaphors, just watch other people use them and listen to how they make those connections. Because like when you first brought up that idea for Jake to do, I was like, oh man, how would I do that? And just listening to Jake do his explanation, I'm like ready to go. I have something in my hand. I'm like, oh, I can nail this. Just by listening to him stumble or him making a connection or whatever. And then even watching people who are seasoned at doing it and they just metaphor after metaphor after metaphor, you're going to pick those up as well. And so if you are not particularly good at it, look at others too, to try to build that skill.
Yeah, 100%. Go on YouTube, Google metaphors, watch people. But can I break down just a little bit more here?
Yeah.
Jake,
Yes.
you were masterful. You were masterful at this. And then this is, I want to tell you a little bit more. What I witnessed is you called out, I haven't been put on the spot in a while. Name it. Name what's going on in the room. Too oftentimes we get put on the spot as an introvert and it just starts to freeze. I'm in complete fight, flight, freeze. Name it. Oh, I haven't been put on the spot in a while. It releases the tension. It keeps the blood flowing. It reduces the amygdala hijack that's happening. Mm-hmm. Well done. Then you, Jake, you went on to repeat my question and elaborate. Like, we can all say he's buying time. He's deflecting. He doesn't have an answer. But it was masterful. You kept a connection with me. And this is what I find most less seasoned engineers, scientists will do, is they stop and freeze and they're calculating. And if you're watching them, you can watch the math happening behind the eyes. But for a non-data driven person, it appears like the porch light's on and no one's home, right?
Deer in the headlights.
Yes.
Exactly. It's called the delay bias. Everybody has it. It's a universal unconscious bias that we all have. If someone doesn't make a response in a certain amount of time, we begin to see them as a little less than. And because we are driven by our own fear of being seen that way, we have this surge of hormones and adrenaline hits our like neuroscience has shown us. It like causes the amygdala hijack. It restricts blood flow to the frontal lobes. You can't even think about all the data points that you had because all of a sudden it's like kind of thing.
And it's just true. like the fear you're talking about, and then also the everyone kind of, what I heard was like being uneasy around you, or like it's just true. Our biases will kick in and we're like, oh, this guy's just like there's nothing going on upstairs, you know? It just kicks in. No matter how nice and great of a person you are and how empathetic you are, it's going to be there. And so that kind of doesn't infect, what's the right word? It kind of spreads throughout the room. It makes its way throughout the room. Mm-hmm. People are picking it up and they're all looking at each other. So, and I wanted to break it down further because I like breaking things down into very clear, like, definitions or just statements. So behaviors. I did that stuff on purpose. I learned how to do those things from a coach, just like Salvatore. Like, I have had a coach before and I've said, I'm, kind of awkward in these situations. How do I fix that? Well, what did you do? Oh, I do these things. Okay. Don't do those and do these. Okay, great. You break it down. So like, you didn't see me because there's no video on this, but I was staring and analyzing the cup as I said, okay, I haven't been put on the spot in a while. And what saying, and you can kind of like dive into this too, like what it actually means. But for me, when I said I haven't done this in a while and haven't been put on the spot in a while, is it sets the room and it gives me grace and it forgives the other people looking at me from feeling weird about a pause. It goes, oh, okay, I get it. He hasn't been put on the spot in a while. I can relate to that. And it sets them kind of at ease. And then I said, I need more time. Your question was, just to clarify, that I should look at this cup, describe it, and see how it relates to my career. And I got the nod from you. I got the cue from your body language. Like, okay, so I feel good about this now. It's steps. It's actual things to do that you can put in place next time.
Frameworks. Yeah. I've come up with a whole set of frameworks just like that for every context. Steve, I saw you.
Yeah. I just wanted to pick out one little item there is when you repeat the question, if there isn't clarity in that, like if you say the wrong question, that's an opportunity to gain alignment from the other person. And then now you have this mutual understanding between each other of we are answering this question as intended. And so I think that's something that is missed quite often.
Big time. Again, STEM professionals, our minds are moving faster. So we've already come up with a conclusion. And so we hear the question, we've got an answer. We've actually got plan B and C already ready to go. And the problem is they're not ready for all of that. And getting like that first step of clarifying that I understand the question really is the first step to building trust. I'm establishing with you, the questioner, that I understand your question, I understand where you're coming from. And, oh, I got your question wrong. Please tell me more. The trust has got a second level going.
Yeah.
So,
and now they're going to trust your response.
Right.
So the frameworks.
The frameworks.
Are there a couple tried and true or the most recommended ones that you have for the STEM professional around these certain contexts or certain situations they'll be in, and what are the frameworks they can use in those situations?
Hey, my fellow impactful engineers. If there's one thing that you could do to help out this community, is to keep listening to the podcast, but also that if you found value in it, to share it with one person, give us a 5-star review, or even leave a text review. It'll only take a few seconds of your time. Find that person that you think could enjoy some of this or learn from it, and pass on the good word. Now back to the show.
You know, the frameworks themselves take a little bit of time to work all the way through, and it may not be appropriate for the podcast, but I can share elements of those frameworks. But what I'll say, there is a framework for how to open up, how to start talking, how to make an impromptu, how to answer a Q&A, how to network. I mean, who enjoys networking? I hate it. So there's a framework for networking. So I've got a framework for all of these things. But what I would start with is kind of to your point, like the first offer I say is state the obvious. State the obvious first. Because we don't always relay what's going on in our heads to get to the conclusion that we got. If I can state the obvious, and I call it the shared interest, if I can state the shared interest, it's going to tie that person and I together. And we're going to have a better conversation from that point on. That would be number one.
And so state the obvious. Okay, so maybe something like, I'm just trying to like kind of bring a real example. So if you're in a meeting and you need to deliver some high level summarized information to some, whatever, executives or your boss or whatever, and you've done just so much prep work, and like you could have 50 slides up there and you're like, dude, they need to know all these things. But like you could just state the obvious and say, hey, I know we're not here to go through all the data and all the work I did to prepare these answers for you. So we're just going to go over the answers. And if you want me to dig, I would love to do that. I love digging. I don't know if you know, but I love all the data. So, and then you go over the high stuff. Right. Is that kind of in line with what you're talking about?
You're doing two things. You're stating the obvious and level setting expectations. Love the couple that you came up with. The stating the obvious, though, you kind of had it at the first. I know we all want to have less downtime on our servers. State the obvious. Now we're all on board. We understand the vision. We understand the mission. We understand what you're getting to. I know you've all spent a lot of time working to solve this answer. I know that you and your teams have done da-da-da-da. I know that we're all working. I know that we're all impacted. I know that we're all stating the obvious. Whatever the obvious is, brings the room all together to then be able to hear, okay, this person is considering my point of view. They're not just giving me an answer. Because I don't know, I've had engineers who can sit in a conference room, listen to the table go all around a circle, and they'd be like, here's the answer. And everybody's like, what? No, I don't. How did you, is that, well, I don't know. And then they dismiss it because they don't feel, people can't hear until they feel heard. It's a truth, right? And so all those other key stakeholders in the room need to feel like they've been heard before they are able to swallow the insightful answer that you have to. So state the obvious. What are the table stakes right now?
I just have to say, like, you're a master at this. Like,
oh no, please tell me more.
Leaning in, you can't see him, but he leans into the camera and he lowers his voice to make the point, and then he comes back, and then you're very good at this. All right, so state the obvious. Steve, you have anything on state the obvious? You were laughing, kind of chuckling.
No, I don't have anything to add. No,
just relating. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Any other ones? So we state the obvious first.
Number two,
next action.
Dialogue, not monologue.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or dialogue, not download. To the second part of what you said, I know that you all know that I love it. I have a lot of data. I can go into data for the rest of the day, where I'm here for it if you want to go there, right? but we want a dialogue, not download. So every 2 slides, every 3 minutes. If you're talking beyond 3 minutes, you have lost your audience. I've seen the research. I've been in the studies where they have the dials and they show people like their interest level when a person is communicating. After 3 minutes, you've lost your audience, especially if you're doing a download. Now, let's be clear. If you're talking to another engineer, synapses are firing, you're creating synergy, you're going on the Zoom. But if you're a non-data driven kind of person, after 3 minutes, there needs to be a stop and say, does it sound like we're aligned? Is this aligned with what your expectations are? Do you have any questions about this before I move on? Anything like that. You've got to stop some sort of pattern disruption.
In my experience, even things I'm super interested in. Like recently we were doing some pricing our services training in the company I work for. And it's like, I'm actually really interested in this. I want to know all these things. But there was those gaps. There's like the 5 to 7 minute where they're just kind of like going on and belaboring the point they were making. And I was ready to fall asleep. I was head down on my desk going like, maybe I should just skip this, but I don't know. Yeah. So it totally makes sense.
Yeah, I'd like to actually bring up an example of an interesting visual cue to keep people engaged. So, I have an engineer that I work with, and he's known for adding in Thor in his presentations. Thor,
nice.
like the Marvel movie Thor, Chris Hemsworth, right?
Yeah, sure.
And so he'll relate it to a property of the project. So if something is overweight, it'll be fat Thor. If something is really strong, it'll be like super strong Thor. And so now in these presentations, people are just waiting for when Thor shows up. And so they're way more engaged. And it's like, it's an excellent way for someone who can covertly add excitement into a slide deck.
Such a good idea.
Like, we can all make our slides so much more engaging. I love it when there's a puzzle slide. And what I mean by that is somebody puts up the slide and it has the first 3 words in an underline, but he hasn't made the point yet. And I've got to figure out what that point is. Like, I'm fully engaged, especially in my brain. Like, I got to find the answer to this. I love solving problems. And then they tell me and I'm like, yeah, that's great. So.
Nice. I'm taking notes because I am not a slides person. You know how I get around having boring slides? I just don't do them. I pull up a whiteboard, and if I have something I want to make a point on, I'll take a marker. But other than that, it's my face, and we're talking. I avoid.
I think this helped me understand myself better because I have when I'm invited to do a keynote or something, and like, do you have slides? And I'm like, I got to create slides for this. It's like, no, I don't want a distraction. I don't need a backup dancer. I'm the main act. Just watch.
Yeah, not doing it.
Yeah, one of my favorite methods is I have slides, and your slide has like one word on it.
Yes.
Next slide, another word.
All right.
Yeah. So,
go ahead, Steve.
Just keeping on the slides presentation stuff, just real quick. A lot of engineers that I've seen in my career will go. They have this super elaborate, very thoroughly detailed presentation that they're going through, like in a design review, etc. And normally a lot of engineers would be like, oh, this is great information. I can see, here's your analysis and here's this and that and this, and it's great. But the presentation itself is like, so here is my design. Here is this. And, as you can see, blah, 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 and so it's very monotone and soft and it just doesn't have a good energy vibe to it. And it's just a slow pace. And so for those engineers, because I know they're numerous, what are some actionable things that they can to just change the engagement?
Yeah, we have so many areas to unpack on this one. I love it. Like, on its nose, we're talking about someone whose delivery is not congruent with the message. It doesn't have the same oomph or this is brilliant insight, and yet the person is delivering it very monotone and so forth. So there's a number of ways to look at it. First of all, we really need to find what the stimulus is. What's the trigger that's causing the flattening of the voice and the monotone? Because who knows? Like, it could be just inexperience. It could be a lack of confidence about the topic. It could be like any number of things. I would offer number 1, ask yourself, what are you excited about this? Like start out before your presentation, before you start speaking. Maybe you're waiting there in the meeting to say what you have to say. Start by asking yourself, what about this lights me up? What am I excited about? And hold on to, keep that in your mind while you're speaking. Just having either like, what's my purpose? What's my reason for being here? What's my why? Why is this important to me? Having that clear before going into the presentation can add a little bit of juice and energy to it.
Yeah. And I've also used in my career, like what are the adversities that I had to overcome to get to this end result, right? How many iterations of failing that I had to go through to get to a successful analysis, you know?
Nice. You're validating your value. I went and I led a program for the World Economic Forum. And when I went into the World Economic, my imposter monster was in full rage mode. Like it was like, you don't belong here, not with these people. You know, like, who are you? And I called my coach. I was in a conference room and he coached me as I was marching around the conference table. He's like, why should they hear from you? How do you add value? Why does your voice matter? Why does this information matter? Why is this important? And after 10 minutes, I was ready to like, oh, everybody shut up. I've got something to say. You know? It's important to give myself that self-talk if I don't have my coach with me. And that's why I ask those questions. I usually have a series of 3 questions that I ask myself before I go into a presentation. Like, why is my voice important? How do I add value? Why do I care about this? And that gives me enough of a burn to break out of the monotone in some ways.
Yeah, and the why do I care about this is my favorite one, because I can't tell you how terrible it is to go into a presentation or I'm thinking like back in school, because you were kind of forced to do presentations on things you gave no care in the world about. At least that's my experience. Some of the times I had to go up there and just present on stuff, and I'm like, I don't care at all. So when you do that to yourself professionally, and by the way, you're not cornered as much as you are professionally into doing things you don't want to do. You can always put your spin on it. So building that why behind why do you care and why do you care to deliver the message helped me so much. I went from delivering messages that I didn't care about to delivering messages that I had something to say, right? It makes it you're excited for the next slide, or you're excited for the next topic, or you're excited to hear what people have to say about the message you're delivering, and it just drives you and drives you and drives you. I was giving a presentation on delegation, and I love delegation, right? And I know the power behind it, and like how people do it wrong, and what I think about it being right. So I didn't take, and here's the point I want to make. I didn't take delegation and then go research what are the definitions of it that everybody accepts, list them out. How do most people do delegation? List it out, maybe provide some context. I said, how does Jake do delegation? What kind of fire does Jake bring to this very important team building, organization, creating resilience factor? What does Jake think about that? What's important? So I made a whole presentation about what I thought was important about delegation, and I was excited to go through it, right? Provide a little bit of graphs at the end just to be funny and bring a story to it and some humor or something. But yeah, I just want to drive that home. Like, figure out why you care, and then you're going to deliver a much more energized presentation.
100%. And do that for every slide. Why do you care about that slide? Why do you care about that content? What lights you up about that content? I work with a lot of financial investors and people like that. And like, this is numbers. Nobody cares about numbers. I'm like, well, why do you care? Well, I think about da-da-da. And I'm like, that's what you need to bring to the presentation. Let people fall in love with the numbers because of your love for the numbers.
That's right.
Yeah. And if you don't care about that slide, get rid of it.
Yeah, but 100%.
Delete is great. Delete it. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to belabor this a little bit and probably lose people, but staring at percentages yesterday, what fun is that? But it was under the context of something that the person presenting really cared about and had great insight on. And then all of a sudden the percentages became something very interesting. So, yeah.
Have fun with it. All right. Here's my next big,
Number 3.
Let's
do it. Let's do number 3.
Build bridges, not butts. What I mean by this, you get 1 butt a day. That's all you get. For the rest of the day, use and in place of a but. And I'll tell you why. I've watched this. I've done it myself. You're giving me your argument. Everybody at the table is having this argument. I'm going to come out and just tell you. But if you look at this, what I've done is I've ended this conversation. I've discounted what they've said. I've stopped collaboration. But instinctively, viscerally, neuroscience shows it will raise our defensive. Like, oh, you think I'm wrong now. Let me tell you how wrong you are about me being wrong. You get one but a day. Learn to use and. And it's not that I'm agreeing. And is not agreement. It's allowing them. It's allowing a continuation. There's an improv game. I took an improv class. It was quite insightful. I don't know if have either one of you done improv? No. Yeah. I did all the scary things. I did the improv class. I did the acting class. I even did stand-up comedy. That was don't.
That actually sounds kind of fun though.
Yeah,
but okay, let's
you're
keep
up
going.
there and your whole body's on fire because you're like, oh my God, I'm going to make you people laugh. How do I do it? There's a yes and. In improv, there's a technique called yes and, where you say something that I completely disagree with, and my job is to say yes and. It's not yes, you're right. It's yes, I hear you. Yes, what I appreciate about what you said is yes, where I see alignment is. And let me tell you my side of the story. Train yourself into using yes ands.
So
I love yes and. Go, Steve.
Yeah, I love it too. And engineers are notoriously terrible at using but all the time. And so I'd like to do an example if we can. So I'm going to say something and I want to see how you go yes and.
Oh, I love this. Wait a minute. Let me get in position.
Yeah.
Steve,
All right.
let's do it.
All right. So you're an engineer. I'm a project manager. Okay. We need to get this design done in 1 week for us to meet our deadline.
Yes. I appreciate that the timeline has been set. And I appreciate that there are a lot of eyes on this and that you're wanting to make sure that this is successful. And we need to take in consideration, we have 2 systems that are backlogged. I am still waiting on the files, and compliance is the one that's actually holding us up on it. If I could offer, please go to compliance, get them to move, and we might have a chance of meeting your deadline.
Fire. I love it.
Beautiful.
Well
You're
done.
hired. Let's go.
That's a mini masterclass right there.
That's
so good.
The idea is a lot of people take those moments and they feel like they're in some sort of like a Jeopardy game or some sort of quiz show where they got to come up with the right answer fast. And the job is really, how can I build rapport with you? How can I establish trust between us? And the way I do that is by what I appreciate about what you're asking. I'll say yes, and what I appreciate about that question, what I appreciate about your approach, what I appreciate that. And I just keep using that phrase, what I appreciate, until I can authentically come up with something. And I watch the other person's face and I see them go, okay, yeah, you hear me. Then I can go into, and here's how you're absolutely wrong. Let me just tell you.
Exactly. Without even saying it. I'll give an example, because that was kind of like Steve's the authority. Let's do it the other way where the yes and is from the authority. I'll just give an example because it's fresh. So yesterday I had a meeting which most people would probably consider like a hard discussion or something that would be hard to moderate or that could get out of control quickly because it involves feedback on people not working well together or putting up walls between each other, right? Or not giving each other the time of day. There was things that I observed that were in this realm between 2 people. So I said, me being me, I'm like, okay, this is not good. This is not the culture, and we don't want this to spread at all. We want to nip this in the bud. So let's put these 2 people in a room and let Jake talk to them. So we get in the room, and so I'm the quote unquote like kind of authority person because I'm the senior person and I called the meeting, right? So I set the meeting, and then we start talking. Someone made a very good point that was getting towards the emotional and maybe the insulting arena, which I said before. And when I was setting the meeting that we're not going to go there or I'm canceling this, or I will tell you to not do that. So he said that, right? Instead of saying, but but see right there, that's what I'm talking about. You can't do that. Or, but hey, that's not going to get us anywhere. After they said it, I said, yes. And we could have enhanced the solution to this problem by identifying it earlier and bringing it up with the other person so that we could have a conversation about it. And that was it. Right.
Well done.
So when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, I just did that.
You did that. You
I
did
kind
that.
of have the
You
gist
pointed,
of why, but
yeah, you pointed to the higher purpose behind what's driving this too. Like you took well, let's get out of the gutter. Let's go back to the higher purpose on this too. I love that. Bravo.
Yeah,
How did the meeting go after that?
Oh, very good. Everybody, because I'm not going to final bring age into it. They were younger, right? And me, remembering myself as a younger person, had all these tendencies to fight back, and you've hurt me personally, and my ego's fucking hurt right now, and I'm going to get you. So and I know that, and one of them was kind of that way. The other one was more of a kind of a calm person, but so just I knew that was going to be the tendency, and I remember that. And so I thought purposely we're going to come in here and try and handle it a way that is going to show them that this is the better way than kind of hashing it out, so to speak. So
Nice. I will not be wading into generational management topics right now. That is not my wheelhouse.
and kind of we don't need to. It's why. I mean, my opinion is it's up to the person to figure out what's stopping them from doing the things that need to be done or taking the actions to get the best outcome that they can get. So it's not up to us to tell them what their life has been about and why they have any sort of objection to doing so. That's not our job.
Let me ask you both this. What was the communication hack that helped you go from here to here? What was the thing that once you started integrating, whether it was the yes and or no buts or
the hack. So I don't get to say something like I chose courage instead of fear. That's
man,
that's a strategy. That's a mindset. So I don't get to say that. Okay, Steve, do you have one?
Yeah, I do.
All right, I'm gonna think on mine.
Yeah. So mine was really figuring out how someone wanted to receive information and then changing how I deliver it. Earlier in my career, I always delivered it how I wanted to deliver the information. And naturally, as an engineer, that usually causes a lot of walls to go up, especially if they're not an engineer. So understanding how they want to receive information and changing how I communicate to deliver that package of info. And that just changed everything.
It's so great. There's two ways to take what I'm hearing you say. One is Bernice McCarthy's work on the 4 questions, the ways that we process and internalize information. And the other is like an actual communication manual. I prefer email over text or things like that. I think you're going more Bernice McCarthy's way, right?
I actually haven't heard of that person, but along those lines.
Transformational work from a long time ago that is still in play in all of design instruction and instructional design. It is, you look at, there's 4 different approaches to how people come to the table. They're either asking why, what, how, or what if. Everybody has a dominant one. I imagine everybody that's listening right now, it's a what. We're all what. Because the what person is focused on what's the background, what's the history, what's the details, what's the statistics, what's all the data. Just give me all the data. I'll make up my mind on my own. If you just give me the data, that's good. And as a what thinker, I'm convinced if I just if I download all the data, you'll come to the same conclusion, right?
Yeah.
But there's 4 thinking minds. The first one is the why. This is sort of like the CEO mentality. Why are we here? Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this now? Why is this important? They don't care as much about the what. They care, but they don't care as much. That's not where they start. They start with why. Why is this important? It's always good in any meeting to start with the why. And Simon Sinek has made a whole career about that. But start with the why, and then after you get to the why, then you can go to the what. What are the details? Keep it short, keep it brief. Then you get to the how. The how is the COO of the company. These are the operationals, right? They're wanting to operationalize. How are we going to do this? How long is it going to take? How much more money are we going to spend on this, right? So I, as a what thinker, need to remember that the operational guy, person needs to put this into play in some way. I need to like kind of spell it out, how it's going to work, how I see this unfolding, how I see this integrating, whatever it is. Next is the what if, and this is sort of a bipolar personality, right? There's a what if positive, there's a what if sort of risk taker, right? The what if positive is the entrepreneur. Well, what if we try this? What if we put this in? What if we put this in there? What if we took this away? What if, like, it's great. Great entrepreneurs, go for it. They eventually need to become a why, or they're going to lose their audience. And then the what if risk taker is the CFO of the company. Well, what if it doesn't meet on time? Well, what if we get delays here? What if it goes over budget? What if, right? And thank God we have that person. Like, a lot of times people don't like them in the meeting because they're being the what if person, but we need them as a part of it. So Steve, to your point, there are 4 dominant thinking types out there. And if I go out as my what thinking type and expect people to understand my over rotating, over prioritizing the what, I'm going to lose at least 75% of my audience.
Yeah.
Unless I have an audience of STEM professionals. And
Yeah.
such.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a bit of a rant.
No, it's good.
I
like that framework of that, because what I'm used to is more of like the DISC model, or there's a book Surrounded by Idiots by Erickson. I don't know if you've read that one, but it's basically
I lived that one. Yes.
Yeah. So it's very similar to the DISC model, right? So that's the concept of how I frame everything in my mind now. It's like, oh, is this person a D style or a C style or I style? But it all fits within the same questions framework.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, Jake.
I was so into that one. That was good.
It's too bad this isn't video. Your facial expressions are on point, Jake.
Like my focus one?
Yeah.
So I had a lot of things come through, but I think when I stopped preaching and I just started demonstrating, like my communication used to be full of, I know the why. And I know, like, if I could just instill the mindset into you, you would just see the light, right? And then we could all just enjoy it together. It doesn't work that way. I figured out. So when I just stopped always preaching and just started like demonstrating, I think is when my communication went to the next level. People seeing what I'm doing, respond with action instead of talking. I think was when that happened for me.
Your hack is really advanced. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Like you gave up going in there with I am right, and you gave up. You showed up with conviction, but still with an openness and flexibility. Like you found that balance between like, I have all the facts here, and I'm willing to sit with you and help you come to the same conclusion to some degree, rather than just press it all upon you. Yeah,
because the pressing wasn't working. Even though I thought it was like the greatest. I'm like, yeah, I went out and learned all this stuff. Now let me just shove it into your head in 5 seconds. So that was crazy. Took a big my career. That's another like step function kind of thing you can do is stop explaining to everyone how to do stuff and just start demonstrating. And you get to explain in certain forums. But make sure the forum that you're in is set for the explaining to happen.
Yeah.
I was using every single interaction possible that I had to do the explaining, and that was, I think, where it fell apart.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think people are ready for the explanation until they see you demonstrate something, and then they want to ask the question of how you are doing it, and then that's when they're ready to receive that explanation.
And Steve. I figured this out I just thought of this. I figured this out a long time ago. And then 15 years later is when I finally went, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the point. So here's the story. Good Times Pizza. Okay. 17 years old, Palisadro, California. I started and after I graduated high school, then I'm going to college. But anyway, I'm working at this just local pizza place because I've been working forever. And we're making the way we did breadsticks, right? Breadsticks are great, garlic knots or whatever. And it's like, there's a certain way to make the breadsticks, right? And so one order was 1 medium disc, 1 medium dough, and you cut it this way and you put it in. And somebody had the bright idea, I got 2 orders at once. I'm going to use a large. but there's some physics going on here. Okay. The ounces, yes, you could fudge the ounces and it was twice. Okay. So the ounces were there, the weight of the thing. But then we've got this disc that's always pressed out before we cut. And that's where the problem was. Anyway, long story short, doing 2 mediums is the way you do 2 orders of breadsticks, right? And I was telling this guy, and I would tell everybody, like, this is the most common complaint. Like, if you have multiple breadstick orders, you're gypping people, and it looks smaller if you use a large for 2, or whatever combo. And I just tell them, and they would always think, well, my way's better, or whatever. And then I just had to, like, demonstrate, right? I had to show them 2 mediums side by side and how it looked next to someone trying to fudge it with a large, and it was very clear. And they're like, oh man, look at this discrepancy. And then so I just shut up and I was just demonstrating. And it's like, this is why we do 2 mediums for these orders. And they got it, right? They're like, oh yeah, okay, shit, I see. Dumb, kind of like, I don't know. It was just a memory that came up, but I think it makes the point. Like,
it does.
I just did the thing, and within proximity of them, so they could see it, see me doing the thing. Yeah, and then they were like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. This is why we do it that way.
They can see the results.
I could see the results. So turns out I figured it out a long time ago, and then forgot.
So something I do want to pick apart or go back to is you mentioned in one of your explanations or stories that you called your coach, and you are a coach yourself. And I just wanted to make a point here that, everyone needs a coach, even coaches. Right. And so finding someone, if you are struggling with communication, finding someone who is good at it or offers a coaching, opportunity for it, like find that person and you will grow much faster, and everyone can benefit from that. So I just wanted to, I remember hearing that earlier in the episode, and I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, double clicking on it. Like, we need mentors, we need guides, and there's something to be said about getting feedback and good feedback versus non-useful feedback, right? Like, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. If you practice your presentation 90 times and get up there, that doesn't make it better. It just means whatever you were doing wrong the first time has become a concrete groove that you're stuck in. You need to get feedback. And there's 2 kinds of feedback. There's the sort of superficial feedback. I counted the number of ums in your presentation. Like, great, that's not at all helpful. And then there's the, you're speaking too high level here and too low level here. Find a place in between the 2. That's going to be, I can do. The thing I like to challenge all my clients to do is to go into every meeting that they are speaking and designate one person and tell them ahead of time, I'm coming to you afterwards, and I need you to tell me one thing that I did that worked and one thing that you think could have worked better. I'm not letting you go until you tell me both. I don't want to just hear, I did a good job, it was great, you did wonderful. I don't want to hear like fluff. I do. Let's be honest. We all love it. But I don't want to just hear fluff. I want to hear specifics. What did I do well? Because I can't get better at the things I'm good at. I can't polish if I'm not being told what is working. And what's one thing that would have made it better for you? I always add that on, for you, meaning that I get that this is going to be your opinion, but in your opinion, what would have made it better? It also gives me the ability to be like, yeah, well, so says you. Like, I'm not speaking to a room full of you. Like, I'm not going to talk about Thor. Give me a break. Marvel, who wants to go? Okay, Marvel is way better than DC. Let's not go there. We just took a pivot there.
Shots fired.
Oh no, we lost everyone.
What did you say? Thor's no good? No, Thor's the best. Loki's actually way better. But
there's this saying. Well, like, back to Thor, because I kind of caught that the Thor's better or Loki's better. I think the bodybuilders in the room are probably going to gravitate towards Thor, right?
Okay.
The arms and all that stuff.
So you're
the evil
is not
so here
right now.
That's absolutely what I'm doing, and I'm saying the mischievous and the cunning are going to gravitate towards Loki. So take it as you will.
I just think of it as a trickster. There's a lot more fun to be had than we're having. Why is everybody taking everything so seriously? That's my approach to Loki. I can't believe
there you go.
We've gone.
Okay. All right. Hey.
Back to it. Come on, get to it.
Back to it. I think there's this saying that I learned that will solidify what we were talking about feedback. you can't read the label on the outside of the bottle that you're stuck in, is what I was told.
Ooh.
So just visualize that, right? So you're like a bottle of whatever your favorite sauce or dressing is. It has the nutrition facts on the outside, and if you're in the inside, you can't see that. You can't see the makeup of what's in the bottle, which is basically who you are. So or who you are in the moment, what skills you have, and how you perceive things. So having someone watch out for you, that's how I like to put it. Watch out for me. Can read that label, right, and say, oh, we should change this nutrient here, and we can move this thing here, and maybe a little more protein I think the protein to fat ratio is off. Let's raise that protein up, That's the saying that kind of stuck it for me. So, and then the other one, because people hear mentors and like finding a mentor, and they think, well, how do you do that? And then I think a logical person would be like, walk up to somebody and say, hey, will you be my mentor? I think walking up or taking advantage of first the people that you know and interact with all the time, taking advantage of if they naturally give you something that is helpful, you can say that was awesome. It was helpful. And in fact, I did it. And here was the result. What else you got? Can we do this regularly? So you're not saying like, hello, I'd like to be mentored by you. Are you taking on mentees? You just kind of like weave it in. But with the meeting example, you could probably do that with anyone. It's like, hey, the criteria was that you're a human and have a pulse and you're in the meeting that I'm in. So here we go. Could you give me feedback after, the meeting's over? So I recommend just kind of approaching it that way. It's like, I'm looking to get better. I know there's this communication thing. I know that if I do better, that's better for our business. Yeah. So if you could help me out, that'd be cool. Treat it Loki style, not Thor style, and come and swing with the hammer and break the wall through.
Let's just put it this way. Loki's eating pizza right now, and you're stuck as a carnivore only eating chicken. But to your point, you're really coaching people on like how to make that initial contact with a mentor or a coach. And I like to offer the idea of spot it, got it. If I'm watching other leaders and I see them do something that I admire, the fact that I'm able to spot that they have that thing, it means that I have the ability to do it. If I wasn't able to see it, I wouldn't have the ability to do it myself. So spot it, got it, go up to that person and say, to your point, I saw you do this really well. I'd like to learn how to integrate that into my own speaking. Can I come to you for some mentorship or some guidance at some point? Done deal. You saw me do something great. Please tell me again, how great am I? Like you have a fan and you have a mentor at the same time.
And then every time you do that great thing, guess who taught them the great thing? Yeah, that'd be the mentor. So they get to have that,
feather in their cap.
Hey, and just because I don't like broccoli, all right, just because I'm not going to be eating vegetables. Okay, so much good stuff in there.
Yeah, I really need to understand your loathing of broccoli. It's such the perfect low carb supplement to your high protein diet for your bodybuilding.
These days, I'm willing if I dress it up with some butter and just totally remove the whole benefit from it, and then I'll eat some of it.
So that's what I'm doing wrong? Okay, now I know. Thank you.
So, hey, you might be put on the spot here because I don't know if I ever posed the two questions at the end that we do.
No, but I think before we do that, though, please tell our audience where they can find you and engage with you. And benefit from your services that you have.
Thank you. Clearandcompellingplaybook.com. Clear and Compelling is my book that's going to be coming out hopefully in June. It's 15 years of in the field work with STEM professionals and the frameworks and the delivery tools that I'm using. So clearandcompellingplaybook.com will take you to my site. You can find all my information. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Salvatore Manzi, Manzi. Love to hear from you. I want to hear what works, what doesn't work. I'm very eager. Thank you.
Yeah. And when does that book come out? Because I'm going to get it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm hoping June. The copy editor is like, yeah, can we make another change? I'm like, Can we stop with the changes? But yes, I'm yes-anding that. I'm not butting it. And June, like mid-June, hopefully.
All right. And is that going to be on Amazon so people can just search your name?
It'll be on Amazon.
Awesome.
And it's your first book?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
I think that's why it's taking so long. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, Ugh.
It's got to be good. There's so many books out there that are just written because they think that's the way to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciate a book that's actually well written.
Yeah.
And you
But
can get a
it's
lot
raising
out
the
of.
stakes on me, Steve. What do I do?
And it's
It will be
clear.
really well written.
Will it be clear?
Yeah.
It will be clear. It will be compelling. A page turner.
All right. So Jake, go ahead and do the questions side of it.
Yeah, you want me to ask mine? All right.
Yeah.
2 questions we always end with, and be a low-key here. Don't take it too seriously. Have fun. I'm the action guy. So Steve is always the guy that's like, hey, we should do this and we should do this. Hey, we should start a podcast. And I was like, done. And the next week I said, we're recording. And he's like, what? So I'm the action guy. And what's one action somebody could take, either based off what we talked about today or something you want to just deliver? But what's one action somebody could do that would improve their career, their communication, give them a leg up? Is there something they can start doing today?
Appreciate the question. I have 10 things that come up that I want to share. We did talk about the metaphor game, so I feel like it'd be cheating for me just to tack back to that. I would say the challenge I would offer is to break the seal early. And what I mean by that is get your voice into every meeting in the first 5 to 10 minutes to break the seal. The longer we wait as introverts, as analytical people, the longer we wait to speak, the higher the pressure curve gets. So break that seal early, get your voice in, make a statement early on in a meeting, and you will elevate your presence in the meetings, and you'll also ease the wheel to speak more fluently later.
I love that.
Very well said. I have no follow-up on that.
Yeah.
Just break the seal.
No, I really like that because oftentimes if someone isn't speaking up in the first half of a meeting, whoever is up front in the meeting or whoever's leading the meeting will start noticing, hey, Jake hasn't spoken up at all. Like, what's he doing? Is he even paying attention? But if Jake says something in the first 5 minutes, that's gone. And they're looking at the rest of the crowd. Jake's already participated, so we're good. So I really love that. So coming from a manager's perspective, I notice that all the time.
Yes. Okay.
So my question is more of mindset based, high level, and it is what makes an impactful engineer?
What makes an impactful engineer? You're asking, like, if I were an engineer and at the end of my career looking back, what made me impactful?
We could look at it that way, yes.
Okay. I would consider that the goal would be to have achieved something that I can point to. So something tangible that has some sort of legs to it. Like, even if it was a one and done kind of thing, like point to actually, as an engineer, I'm going to want to have, I don't know about you, but calculus, my favorite part of the class was actually getting to the answer. Like, I love that there is an answer, right? So having that answer, but I think really an engineer has the capability of touching everybody's lives on this planet, changing the course of humanity, changing the way that we really look at things and operate things. So I think to be impactful, one would have to have a vision and know for themselves, what is the change you want to make? Mm-hmm. What's the impact you want to make on this planet? And from that base, start orientating everything to that North Star. For myself, my North Star is I wish to create a world full of acceptance of each other and ourselves through greater understanding and greater forgiveness. I think a lot of times if we just had more of that understanding, we could create more high-performing and inclusive cultures for the entire neurodiversity that's out there. So that's my mission. What's your North Star? And then you'll know at the end whether you were an impactful engineer.
Yeah. And then how you operate on everything you do, keep that in mind, right? So you're going towards that goal. Yeah. So yeah, no, I love that.
Thanks for the questions. I love it. I love being put on the spot.
Yeah.
Nice. And I just saw that happen yesterday. The additional understanding, breaking down the assumptions, bringing more context, and then having an actual understanding. I just saw that in action yesterday. So very good. I'm well aligned with that mission too.
Thank you.
I almost thought of who did I think about? I thought of, Gary Vee. And I was like, Gary V. I don't know if you know who Gary V is, but he's an online influencer. But I suppose that is his mission too. But anyway, that's sidetrack. That's getting all off base here. So Steve, take us home, man, or I'll just keep talking.
Yeah. Well, Salvatore, we really appreciate you being on. This is a super impactful episode. I know our listeners are going to get a ton of information, and I urge them all to find you on LinkedIn and engage with you as much as possible. And yeah, and if you learned anything today, and I know you did, or think someone else needs to hear the point of views shared today, please share the show. It's the best way we can grow the podcast and continue to create value and impact for the engineering community.